Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report, episode 291. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's enjoying their day. Got a lot of news here and some other stuff. I had a pretty good VA appointment a few minutes ago. It was at 12:40, not 12:20. But it only lasted about 5 minutes. And she said I was doing good. So, hey, that's a good thing. Excuse me. But, thank you all for tuning in to the JP8 report. There is some breaking news, and I'm going to get to it after I do the America 250. But it's about Congressman LaMalfa from California and Congressman Baird from Indiana. We'll talk about that. That'll be our lead after the America 250. All right. So welcome to the JP8 report. And before we get started, if you're not a follower of the JP8 report, regardless if you're live with me or you're watching video on demand, and please click that follow button. And then right next to it is a thumbs up for a like. Give me a like. I would appreciate that. That would be great. And then if you can, share. All right. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. All right. All right. So with that being said, we'll go to the America 250. And where is it? There we go. There we go. Okay. So in America 250 for the 6th of January, 1776, we are now less than 6 months from the Declaration of Independence. The Second Continental Congress authorized the U.S. Navy Medicine. It wasn't called the United States Medicine at the time, but it was a Naval Medicine Department, and they appointed surgeons and surgeon mates. All right, and then on the same day, 6th of January, 1776, John Adams wrote a letter to General George Washington. Dear Sir, as Your Excellency has asked my opinion of General Lee's plan, as explained in his letter of the 5th, I think it is my duty to give it, although I am obliged to do it in more haste than I wish I could. I suppose the only questions which arise upon the letter are whether the plan is practicable, whether it is expedient, and whether it lies properly within Your Excellency's authority, and further directions from Congress. Of the practicability of it, I am very ill qualified to judge, but were I to hazard a conjecture, it would be that the enterprise would not be attended with much difficulty. The Connecticut people, who are very ready upon such occasion in conjunction with the Friends of Liberty in New York, I should think might easily accomplish the work. That it is expedient and even necessary to be done by some authority or other, I believe will not be doubted by any friend of the American cause who considers the vast importance of that city, province, and the North River which is in it, in the progress of this war, as it is the nexus of the northern and southern colonies, and as a kind of key to the whole continent, as it is a passage to Canada and the Great Lakes and all the Indian nations. No effort to secure ought to be omitted. That is within the limits of Your Excellency's command. It is in my mind perfectly clear. Your commission constitutes you commander of all the forces now raised or to be raised, and all others who shall voluntarily offer their service and join the army for the defense of American liberty and for repelling every hostile invasion thereof, and are vested with full power and authority to act as you shall think for the good and welfare of the service. Now, if upon Long Island there is a body of people who have arms in their hands and are entrenching themselves profusely to oppose the American system of defense, who are supplying our enemies both of the Army and the Navy in Boston and elsewhere, as I suppose is undoubtedly the fact, no man can hesitate to say that this is a hostile invasion of American liberty, as much as now made possible in Boston, and nay, those people are guilty of the very invasion in Boston, and are constantly aiding, abetting, comforting, and assisting the army there, and that in the most essential manner by supplies of provisions. If in the city a body of Tories are waiting only for a force to protect them, to declare themselves on the side of our enemies, it is high time the city was secured. The Jersey troops have already been ordered into the city by the Congress, and are there undoubtedly under your command, ready to assist in this service. That New York is within your command as much as Massachusetts cannot bear question. Your Excellency Superior in the command over the generals in the Northern Department, as it is called, has been always carefully preserved in Congress, although the necessity of dispatch has sometimes induced them to send instructions directly to them instead of first sending them to your Excellency, and would have occasioned a circuit of many hundreds of miles, and have lost much time. Upon the whole, sir, in my opinion, it is that General Lee's is a very useful proposal and will answer many good ends. I am, with great respect, your Excellency's most obedient, humble servant, John Adams. And this is about securing New York. Now, from what I know, New York was the last place where British troops evacuated after the conclusion of the American Revolution. All right, but this is how people at upper levels of command talk. All right, so next is, and I still don't have my Stream Deck connected, so that's coming. Okay, they're the Dalmatian guys. They're right here in Copper's Cove. They make smash burgers and dogs. Everything is homemade, including the buns. They're open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 2 and 5:30 to 7, unless they sell out. And they are located on the west side of Copper's Cove, behind Bush's in the shopping center. And go see Corey and order you a burger. The prices are really good, all right? So, Dalmatian burger, Texas burgers. All righty. So, what I wanted to talk about is, I'll do that one next. All right. So, this came out just a couple hours ago. Republican Congressman Doug LaMalfa passed away at age 65. Now, I don't know what happened to him. It just shows that he passed away. That's all, right? I'm sure there's going to be stuff come out in a little while. Just be patient. Pray for his family, right? But it said LaMalfa represented part of California and was chair of the Congressional Western Caucus. His death brings Republicans' majority down to 218 to 213, and we'll expand on that one in just a couple of minutes. The House Majority Whip Tom Emmer from Minnesota confirmed LaMalfa's death on X. Jackie and I are devastated about the sudden loss of our friend, Congressman Doug LaMalfa. Doug was a loving father and husband and staunch advocate for his constituents and rural America. Our prayers are with Doug's wife Jill and their children. With LaMalfa's death and recent resignation of Marjorie Taylor Greene, House Republicans currently can lose only 2 votes and still pass anything along party lines. It's a perilously slim majority as Republicans kick off the second half of the 119th Congress with hopes of passing a second big, beautiful bill. LaMalfa's death appears to have caught the majority of his colleagues by surprise, with tributes pouring out for the late congressman on Tuesday morning. And then Richard Hudson, he says Doug was a principled conservative and a tireless advocate for the people of Northern California. He was never afraid to fight for rural communities, farmers, and working families. Doug brought grit, authenticity, and conviction to everything he did in public service, said the National Republican Congressional Committee Chairman Richard Hudson, a Republican from North Carolina. And it said the story's breaking. We know that, and there's going to be a whole lot more come out about this later on. And so that brings our majority to 218 to 213. 2 votes, right? Which is tighter than what you think it is. Because no sooner than that happened, more breaking news came out. Republican Congressman Jim Baird, Republican of Indiana, has been hospitalized after a car accident, Fox News has learned. Baird is responsive and in stable condition, Fox News sources said. Details about his incident remains unclear. So technically, I don't know how long he's going to be in the hospital, but that could make it 217 to 213 with, I believe, 1 vacancy on each side from Congressman Sylvester Turner's seat, which I don't know why that hasn't been filled. And then he's a Democrat, so we know it's going to be filled by a Democrat, looks like. And I think that election is February 3rd, I think. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene, she just resigned yesterday officially. So that brings, and then so depending on what Governor Kemp does in Georgia, it could be another 90 days before we get another Republican in there in the middle of a congressional campaign, right? So I really hope he decides not to keep that vacant. That would be stupid. So that goes on what I was going to talk about was that, and feel free to chime in if you have a question about this, because this really irritates me that we have such a tight majority in the Congress, and you have a lot of butthurt Republicans that want to just go off and do what they want. They think they're the speaker, they think they're the president, and they just thumb their nose at the president. You have like Thomas Massey. He says he's a Republican. He don't even act like a Republican. And he just thumbs his nose at the president, and he changes his vote and makes it where the president wins. But it's just painstaking that what he does and what other Republicans do and what they say in public that embarrasses the Republican Party and embarrasses the President of the United States. You got a whole bunch of people out there that are, I would say, they're closet TDS people. And they just don't want to come out of the closet and say what they really feel about the president because they want to stay in office. They're fake Republicans. They might as well be Democrats because like I said, they are fake Republicans. You need to stand up and you need to do what's right. You need to vote with the Republican majority and always vote with the Republican majority. The president only has a finite amount of time that he can actually get stuff passed before politics get so thick around this summertime and through the next 2 years, because he can't run for re-election. Republicans need to get their act together and vote as a bloc like the Democrats do. All right. Right now, we just lost a very valuable member of the Republican caucus, right? And we had another one injured in an automobile accident. More breaking news. Hold on. Search for missing teen concludes. Police announce arrest. Okay. So if you look at it, where was I going on this train of thought? Help me out, people. Help me out. If you look at it, you have a bunch of Republicans that are senior citizens. Same thing in the Democrat Party. You got guys like in my congressional seat. Hey, I love John Carter. He's an awesome Republican, right? But he's in his 80s. You have a bunch of young men that are running to replace him from about 63 years old younger. And I see like Raymond Hamden. I think he is like about 35. Steve Dow, I think he's just close to 30. He looks so young. You got some really young people running in our congressional district. But what happens if something should happen to John Carter in the next 7 months? What do we do then? I think the deadline for having a special election is toward the end of April. Like April 19th or 20th. If it happens after that, you might as well wait for the next election in an election year. So what do we do? Turn over the reins to Hakeem Jeffries? I don't think so. But this is what we do. You look at you get a group picture of Congress and see how old these guys are. And just think that we can actually do better. We're in a very precarious situation right now with a 218 to 213. And technically, until Congressman Baird gets out of the hospital, we're at 217, 213. And just throw another ember on the flames here, right? You got a bunch of congressmen that are running for re-election, and they're not going to want to be stuck in Congress doing their job, which they should be doing, but they would rather be out in their environment, in their districts, actually running. You have Chip Roy. Chip Roy's a congressman, and he's a pain in the neck toward the president all the time. Chip Roy is Chip Roy, right? But he decided he wants to run for the Attorney General of the state of Texas. Well, it ain't like he's going to be able to just run for office, because you have Aaron Reese, which is Aaron writes that he is not employed by the federal government anymore because he resigned his position at the Attorney General's office. So he's back here running full time. You have Ken Paxton. Wait a minute. Ken Paxton's running for Senate, but he is the Attorney General right now. You have Joan Huffman, and you have you have Aaron Reitz, you have Chip Roy. There's one other person. But Chip is not going to want to surrender the battleground to all these other candidates and be stuck in D.C. And there's other ones that want to do the same thing. That are you have Congressman Byron Donalds in Florida. He's running for Florida for governorship in Florida. I mean, do you think he wants to run for governor, or do you think he wants to stick around in D.C.? Well, Mr. Donalds, I think he would be in D.C. first. Okay, he has a good name for himself, but he knows where he needs to be at. The problem is we have a bunch of Republicans that are playing politics when they should be doing their job. For $176,000 a year, they can keep their butts in D.C. and do their job. All right. I don't see anyone's comment on that. It'd be pretty good. So it's gonna roll right into this next one. I want to talk to y'all about. Let me go in here. I actually I put one picture on. I haven't got my Stream Deck, and I haven't really got my stuff programmed in, or I got a couple issues I'm working on my computer and stuff here. You got to give me a little bit of time on that one. Oh, and if you notice, I patched the hole. All right. Oh man, hold on just a second. No one told me my backdrop went off. Give me a second here. I don't know why it went in the screensaver mode, but that's all right. Okay, so this will only be a second. So 40 years ago is the day I joined the Army. All right. So January 6, 1986. That picture is from basic training, which was 6 months later. But I look like a little kid, huh? That is so long ago. All right. So let's get back to business. All right. So what I wanted to talk about was Joe Biden. Yesterday it came out yesterday afternoon about Joe Biden and his pension. This is from the New York Post, I think. Yep, New York Post. Joe Biden's extravagant pension is the largest of any president in history, and even more than what he earned as president. $417,000 a year he's going to be earning in retirement. Former Joe Biden's long career in politics allowed him to retire with the largest taxpayer-funded pension of any ex-president in U.S. history. $417,000 more than his presidential salary, an expert says. Biden, 83, was in line to rake in the massive amount from two pension funds in his first year as former president, according to an analysis of National Taxpayer Union Foundation Vice President Damian Bradley. It's pretty unusual, historically unusual, to have such a large pension amount. I would have to say that this is the largest, the taxpayer advocate said when asked to compare Biden's pension with his predecessors. You'll love this. The hefty annual sum is double than that of Barack Obama, who has received his retirement pay after leaving the White House, and $17,000 more than Biden's $400,000 a year presidential salary. It also reflects Biden's unique situation as a former senator, vice president, and president. Career path has allowed him to take advantage of a loophole, letting him tap into multiple taxpayer-funded retirement funds. Biden, who once described himself as one of the poorest members of Congress, was able to collect a lucrative payouts by double-dipping in benefits established under the former President's Act of 1958, which was established for Harry S. Truman, as well as the civil service retirement system for ex-senators. Annual pay in the CSRC pension plan is determined by a formula that takes in account of Biden's 44 years in the Senate and as vice president, as well as his three highest years of salary during that span. Sort of like Army retirement. Could we have a high 3 plan? That's what I retired under. I only make $3,400 a month in retirement, and I had to put my life on the line. Biden's starting pension could be as much as $166,374, including an $18,186 set aside in the program for the spousal portion of the benefit, according to Brady, who noted there's even more. This is crazy what you're about to see. The former president would have raked in more than $254,000 of annual benefits from the CSRS, if not for a cap limiting his annual payouts to 80% of his highest salary, which is $273,000 a year as vice president of the United States. Biden, who was elected to the upper chamber in 1972, I was 4 years old. There it goes again. Man, okay, I'll work on that later. Enjoy the time. Entered office before the Senate retirement plan was tweaked to make it a bit less generous for newer members. On top of the check from the Senate and the vice presidential service, Biden receives $250,000 annually from his presidential pension. Under the 1958 law, Biden's presidential pension must be equivalent to the salary of a cabinet secretary, which is currently $250,000 and $600. The law was enacted amid public concern over former President Harry Truman. I already knew that. Purported financial struggles after leaving office, although several historians and experts now believe Truman was actually a multi-millionaire after his presidency and not on the verge of becoming destitute. The former President's Act also established a number of additional taxpayer-funded perks for outgoing presidents, including money for staff, equipment, and office space. Why does a former president need office space? Right? Why does he need a staff? Well, okay, I give him a staff because I know general officers that still have a staff. Where am I at? Okay. And for fiscal year 2026, the GSA budgeted more than $1.5 million for Biden, $727,000 alone for office space, more than any other former president. I mean, I have an office in my house where I got the studio. Why can't we just make one of his rooms in his Delaware mansions into an office space, right? Instead of giving $727,000. There's no cap on the rent for that, so it could be a high density area with high rent, and there's no limit on the amount of square footage that is being rented and funded by taxpayers. It is also provided for life. It sounds like a sucking chest wound. A rep for Biden did not respond to the Post request for comment. For $727,000, you know what? Someone can comment, right? Ripping us off. That's exactly what it's doing. Well, I ain't got to the part I want to tell you about. Brady questioned on whether younger former presidents, such as Obama, should be able to build the government for life for office space, often used to write memoirs, and then they make money off that while we pay them money, in lucrative speaking engagements. Some of these guys make $75,000, $100,000, $150,000 for each speech that they give outside of their offices. He also argued our lawmakers should take action to prevent former presidents from making the kind of taxpayer-funded windfall Biden is reaping in retirement. Biden is making more in retirement than the current president gets, and is in a very unique situation. But even though it is unique, it is one that is ripe for reform going forward. Congress ought to look at that to prevent such an extravagant pension amount in the future. Last year, Senator Joni Ernst, a veteran, introduced the Presidential Allowance Modernization Act, which aims to limit the presidential pensions to $200,000 and would cut perks such as office space, staff, and travel expenses. A previous version of the same legislation was passed in Congress in 2016, but it was vetoed by Obama 3 months before he left office, and as he stood to benefit from the perks, the bill aimed to slash. Go figure, right? Concerns over taxpayer-funded pensions from past presidents such as Biden. Under federal law, every member of Congress can qualify for an annual pension after completing 5 full years of service. These benefits cost taxpayers some $38 million a year to pay out. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who began serving January 3, 2021, raised eyebrows when she announced that her last day Congresswoman would be yesterday, giving her enough time to meet the eligibility threshold to qualify for a pension of $8,717 for the rest of her life. And Greene's pension benefit is low compared to an estimated $107,000 and $860 per year payout to longtime Congresswoman, former Speaker Nancy Pelosi, when she leaves Congress in 2027. So that would be about $9,000 a month just to breathe. And she's already a multi-millionaire. Of course, but over the course of her lifetime, Greene still stands to make more than $265,000 from the taxpayer-funded perk. So, at least Joni Ernst made an effort of getting it reformed. But then Obama vetoed the thing because he didn't want to hurt his pocketbook, right? And we waste lots of money here in our government. And, why should, Congress isn't meant to be a career choice. It's a service. And you got all these congressmen and congresswomen, senators, cabinet secretaries, even presidents, vice presidents. They make a bundle of money just from serving. Someone just wrote me a text, and I know the name, but I can't remember. I know. But service is only meant to be temporary and not a career-wise. You should be willing to go back out to the private sector and do your part with the economy and let someone else take your place. We are just wasting money hand over foot with pensions. Why would you need a pension for being in the military? Not in the military. That military is a whole different world. I'm talking in government, right? And the amount of money, Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to get $900 a month for the rest of her life because she served 5 years in Congress. And Nancy Pelosi is going to make $107,000 a year for the rest of her life. Of course, she's in her 80s. So, we need to get younger people in Congress. and to serve, and not just take advantage of with all these presidents and former presidents that are they're bilking the taxpayer for huge office spaces and staffs and expenses. Are they using their expense account to fly to Paris to give a speech and then fly back? They make a deposit in their checking account and don't reimburse the government for any of it. They should. Wow. Okay. Crazy stuff. Oh, one thing I did learn before we go on for the next one. How long have I been on? 37 minutes. I saw a deal yesterday that if you didn't know, I read the New York Post. I like to read the New York Post. But there's a California Post that's coming online on the 26th of January. And it's going to be print and digital and done in Southern California. It's going to be part of the New York Post. They're doing it, but they said the time is right to do one for California. That would be pretty good. I'm going to actually subscribe to that one. But yeah, I just got New York Post posting. Okay, so next is, I don't know. Did I make myself clear enough talking about this? Because let me try something here. I'm going to write me a text real quick. Any comments about this? Let's see if it works. All right. So I just sent everyone a text out there from the live chat that if they know of if y'all have any comments about how we waste our money in our government. Okay. So Senator Klobuchar is thinking about running for the governor of Minnesota. So that would create a vacancy in the Senate, which will be a Democrat anyway, because if she wins, she'll just appoint her replacement, or Governor Walz will replace her and let her become governor. Okay, but that means they'll get another liberal governor out in Minnesota if she wins. Because I saw an interview this morning. Someone was running for governor. Oh, it's Mike Lindell, and he has a good shot at winning. Democrats in Minnesota are urging longtime Senator Amy Klobuchar to jump in the blue-leaning state's race for governor in the wake of Monday's blockbuster move by Tim Walz to end his 2026 re-election bid amid political fallout from a massive fraud scandal. Klobuchar, who was re-elected in 2024 to a fourth, man, I didn't know she'd been in there that long, 6-year term in the U.S. Senate, is receiving calls urging her to run for governor, sources in Minnesota confirmed to Fox News Digital. And sources are telling Fox 9 in Minnesota that Klobuchar is considering making a gubernatorial bid, but is yet to make any final decision. Walz met Sunday with Klobuchar to discuss his decision to drop his re-election bid, but a source familiar with Fox News confirmed. Klobuchar didn't comment on her political plans in a statement Monday, but the senator, commenting on the governor's move to combat the fraud scandal full-time rather than seek another term in office, said Walz made a difficult decision to focus on his job and the challenges facing our state rather than campaigning and running a re-election. The senator has won all 4 of her Senate campaigns by wide margins, including a nearly 16-point re-election in 2024. But Klobuchar, who is currently running number 3 in the Senate Democrat leadership, faces hurdles to rise higher in party leadership in the chamber. It says Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is the top Democrat in the upper chamber and isn't expected to leave his post. Another old person that doesn't want to do anything but die in his seat of old age. But Senate Minority Whip Dick Durbin is retiring from Congress, leaving an opening to fill in the Senate leadership pecking order. And then Senator Brian Schatz from Hawaii is expected heir apparent to that position. However, Brian Schatz, if you did not know, is a licensed pilot, and that during COVID, he would proxy vote. I think that's what it is, and so he was double dipping. He was earning his congressional salary and then earning pay as a commercial pilot. If that makes any sense. Thanks, Rob, for the comment. And then what are we looking at here? 42 minutes. Okay, so we will find out about that. And then the next person that declared for office, this is the actual declaration. Republican Jim Ellison is making a bid for Republican seat in the state of New Mexico for governor. It says Republican Jim Ellison wants to prevent New Mexico from turning into another California. That is a key reason why Ellison, the former commissioner of the New Mexico Public Regulation Commission, on Tuesday launched a campaign for governor in the blue-leaning southwestern state in the 2026 race to succeed term-limited Democrat Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. Grisham. Oh, she was, I believe she was in the Obama administration. In a statement announcing his candidacy that was first shared on Fox News Digital, Ellison argued that policies under the current administration are setting the stage for a dramatic increase in electricity rates. Ellison, who has decades of experience in the power and energy sectors, warned over the next 10 years, electric rates will double and triple if our state continues down the path of becoming another California. At a time when affordability is on the ballot, the reality is that Democrat-led energy policies are making life less affordable for New Mexicans. They will make our state less... Hold on just a second. I got to take my glasses off. They will make our state... They will make our state less attractive for economic development, and we need a leader with vision to reverse course before it's too late, Ellison said. I'm ready to make changes that promote electric rate affordability. Ellison joins a Republican gubernatorial field that already includes Rio Rancho Mayor Greg Hull, State Senator Steve Lanier, and Duke Rodriguez, a former Secretary of the New Mexico Human Services Department. And a trio of Democrats have launched campaigns, including frontrunner Deb Haaland. She used to be a congresswoman. And she was the Secretary of Interior for President Biden. And she was the first Native American to serve as cabinet secretary. While Democrats have dominated federal elections in New Mexico, the last 6 governor administrations have alternated between Republicans and Democrats. And if the pattern holds, a Republican governor would be elected in November. He means well. I hope he has more on his plate than just energy. All right. Even though the Permian Basin goes into the eastern part of New Mexico, so they should have a full influx of natural gas and oil. All right. And then the funny one, let me put my glasses back on. Okay, so the funny one is going to be, who here knows what Kellyanne Conway's ex-husband's name is? Any clue? Nope, no clue. George Conway. George Conway is running for Congress. And he's running for Congress in the 12th Congressional District of New York as a Democrat. All right? He was one of them that founded the Lincoln Project in the first Trump administration as a Republican. Okay, George Conway, longtime critic of President Trump, launched a bid for the New York's 12th Congressional District, running as a Democrat focused on taking the heat to Trump on Tuesday. Conway, a former conservative lawyer, was married to top Trump ally Kellyanne Conway until their divorce in 2023. He joined a crowded field in the Democrat primary race for the Manhattan congressional seat. Conway is relying on his familiarity with Trump to set him apart. We have a corrupt president, a mendacious president, a criminal president whose mass agents are disappearing people from our streets, who's breaking international law, and he's running our federal government like a mob-protected racket. I know how to fight these people. They are corrupt, immoral people. They will stop at nothing to rig the system for themselves. I've been fighting Trump for years, and nothing will stop me. Sounds a little vindictive, isn't he? New York's 12th Congressional District is an open seat for Democrats following the announcement from Congressman Jerry Nadler said he will not run for re-election in 2026. And I'm going to stop at Conway's split from conservative politics has been dramatic since the rise of Trump in 2016. He helped found the anti-Trump Lincoln Project in 2019, along other erstwhile Republicans. These people are crooks, okay? I cannot believe he's actually running as a Democrat in the first place. This is absolutely audacious that he's even considering running for Congress. Do you think the Democrats in New York would actually think that George Conway is actually a Democrat? Honestly, someone say something on here, because I honestly don't think he's an actual Democrat. He's a TDS, butt-hurt Republican that just want to stick it to the president, right? And if he honestly believes he can get a single Democrat to vote for him in their New York primary, I would be totally surprised. You know what? I'm going to have to remember this race. And when they have their primary, I want to see how well he finishes, because I bet he'll finish in last place. He deserves to finish in last place. And if I had the money to help fund an opponent of his, which I would never give money to a Democrat ever, but that would be a worthwhile effort. Just yeah, man. Oh, and then another congresswoman I want to talk about All right, I'm running out of time, I know. But this is fun. Jasmine Crockett. Who here loves Jasmine Crockett? Okay, Jasmine Crockett did it again, right? On Sunday on TV, she said, Jasmine Crockett said F you, and she used the expletive, to the Supreme Court over its decision to temporarily uphold Texas's new congressional districts. In a video posted to her YouTube account on Sunday, digits never lie, they never go away, right? Someone made a copy of that thing. On Sunday, Crockett commented on what she claims are efforts by President Donald Trump and the Republican Party to rig the system ahead of the 2026 midterm elections using redistricting tactics. Obviously, Trump is still doing his bidding along these state houses and state senates and governor's mansions to try to rig the system. Crockett said, "Kudos to Indiana for saying F you." I'm not using the words. I don't cuss anyway. Kudos to California for saying we're going to fight back. And after what happened with Mr. Baird and Mr. LaMalfa, I think Indiana needs to go back in there and redo this vote and see if they can make up for the lost time. She continued, definitely kudos to the Trump justice system who wrote the 160-page opinion denouncing what took place in Texas, and FU to the Supreme Court for what they did, as well as, we'll see what happens in some other places. Really? Sounds like a veiled threat. The Supreme Court issued an order in December keeping Texas Governor Greg Abbott's redrawn districts in place ahead of the November elections. The new congressional districts are expected to add up to 5 new GOP House races. So, I don't know what led her to, well, she does have a potty mouth. And she's not even from Texas. She didn't even go to school in Texas. She just appeared. But she, her opponent in the Texas Democrat primary for the Senate is James Tellerico, and in about another week he's going to be in Killeen, I believe, on a campaign rally. I have yet to see her in doing a campaign. I don't think she's going to come to this area of the state anyway. You never know, but matter of fact, the area is so tight in Congress right now. Hakeem Jeffries needs everyone he can get to stay in their congressional seats. I hope she loses. I really do hope she loses. What are we doing at? We're at 55 minutes for the main part before I go into premium. Let's see. I got all those done right there. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting dissolved. They took that vote yesterday and dissolved their corporation, which does funding for PBS and NPR. So more large funding for those organizations. They're probably just going to just disappear also because they're not getting federal tax dollars anyway. And then Anna Barr, she was appointed by Mamdani in New York City. She's a flaming left socialist, but she got appointed the comms director for New York City. She used to work for the New York Times, and she was a staffer for Bernie Sanders. Also, let's see, Hilton Hilton, if y'all read what was going on yesterday in Minneapolis at the Hilton Hotel, they canceled reservations of many DHS employees that had rooms there. And Hilton said it had been fixed. And last night, Nick Santor, he's a ex-guy on YouTube, he did a video, an undercover video, and he went and got the kid on screen when he was trying to rent rooms at the Hilton in Minneapolis. And the kid that was doing the front desk clerk thing, he told Nick Santor, which he thought was someone getting rooms for the DHS, that he just got off the phone with the hotel's owner and that nothing has changed. Well, I guess Hilton found out about it last night. Early this morning, we found out that Hilton yanked the franchise out from underneath the hotel. So if you are going to the Hilton in Minneapolis, it's no longer called the Hilton. So you might want to call and verify your reservations, or just cancel your reservations and find a better hotel elsewhere. All right. The kid, the person, his name is William Dohor in Cincinnati, Ohio. He broke several of the windows in the vice president's house. The vice president wasn't there. And it comes out the day that he's transgender also and prefers to be called Julia. So another trans person doing crazy stuff out there. Next is Jane Nelson. Jane Nelson is the Secretary of State for the state of Texas. She is responsible for everything in elections, all voting, everything, right? She's in the middle of a lawsuit brought by Abraham George and the Republican Party of Texas so that we can have closed primaries here in the state of Texas. Well, yesterday she attempted, and I don't know how successful it was, I didn't see the ruling on it, to have the case thrown out because she said there was not enough time to remedy it before the next election, and that Texas has the Texas Republican Party has no plan in place so that we can have closed primaries, which it'd be easy to do anyway. We already know what to do, right? So that's the fight that our chair still has. And we already knew they would not go in effect on this upcoming primary for 2026. It'd be more like for the primary for 2028, right? But we need to get this done and get it over with, right? So that is in the middle. Hopefully we'll have another update on that within the next few days. And I got that out of the Texas scorecard this morning. That came out in the Texas Minute. And then what else do we got here? Hold on just a second here. Hey, Rob, if you're still on watching the podcast, how is my voice doing? And let me know. Do a chat on here for me, okay? And let's see. So we have been on for 1 hour. So I'm going to I got some left over here, but I can carry it on this tomorrow. So I'm gonna do the my socials. You can reach me on X at James Pierce Jr. You can find me at on Facebook at James A. Pierce Jr. You can find me on YouTube at the JP8 Report 67, True Social at James A. Pierce, and you can send me email at jp8report@gmail.com. All right. So I will be back on at my regular time of 12 o'clock tomorrow. I'm about to transition over into Rumble Premium. You can easily get that by going to rumble.com/premium and doing that. I would do the ad. I can't do the ad read for that because I don't have 10 live viewers right now. If I had 2 more online right now, that'd be great. But not today. But still, you go to rumble.com/premium and you can say, and I think they got a special ongoing right now, right? Okay. So I'm going to transition over here and I will catch y'all on the flip side tomorrow, right? So hold on just a second.